Hey everyone, this is Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy here, and welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the e-commerce and Amazon FBA podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about something I don't know, I haven't heard anybody else talking about it. And this is Prime Profit, Amazon's Prime Video ad game changer. We're going to be discussing the differences between streaming TV and Amazon's new Prime Video ads, the budget range you should be considering, and how this all ties together with AMC Cloud Reporting. So, welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the e-commerce and Amazon FBA podcast.
Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm.
All right, if you're watching this for the first time, we are away. Typically, we are live on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon, but we've got another really great topic to go over today. And like I said, we're talking about Prime Profits, and that's Amazon's Prime Video ad game changer. Our guest is co-founder of Remarketer, and that's REMKTR, an Amazon DSP management service focused on performance and revenue driving strategies. First time guest, I've known him for years, met at him at tons of conferences, Jacob Heinz. Can't wait to talk to him. But first, let's have a word from our sponsor. Facing cash flow challenges with your e-commerce business? Discover Viably, your ultimate financial ally. From real-time sales data integrations to immediate funding access, Viably is here to support you. Plan your growth with their free tool for online sellers and engage with specialists whenever you need. Extend your cash flow with Viably. All right, where is the mayor of Blunderville?
All right, hello.
Hey, are you getting sick of me on the cruise by about now?
I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna assume so. Yeah. So
Yep.
This episode, if everything goes to plan, will be on Friday. So fingers crossed that this episode is playing, depending on the ship's Wi-Fi. But yeah, we'll be bunk buddies over at the cruise.
I get to treat you like when you were a kid, and timeouts. I'm expecting with you and Talal a lot of timeouts.
Yeah, Talal is going to be there, my buddy. We're gonna have a good
Talal
time.
Assad. He's
Yeah.
been on the podcast before as well. Okay, so let's do updates.
All right. Well, we'll be sending out our next newsletter on the Monday, so make sure you're signed up for that. The links will be in the caption if you want to check that out. Also, check out our WhatsApp group that is in the caption as well. It's just a great place. We're almost at 250 members in there, and it's been going off pretty much every day with tons of notifications, and just a great place to kind of network and meet some experts and other sellers in the industry. And yeah, highly recommend checking that out.
I've noticed there's a diverse group of questions, ranging from people that are just starting or thinking about it, right into very, very advanced questions. And the nice thing about the group, and you can tell I'm Canadian if you haven't noticed already, anybody who's listening, let's get the elephant in the room out of the way. But we have some really great experts, and a lot of the podcast experts, when they're done this, like Jacob, just hint, nudge, nudge, we offer them to come into the group, and all of a sudden, like, we just have this incredible group of experts and mentors that are there. So no matter what the question is, if we don't answer it on the podcast, get over to the group. And also, I do want to talk about the newsletter for 1 second. The newsletter, I've already seen, we're just finishing it off today. Well, by the time you see this, it'll already have been published for this week, and it's fantastic. So if you want to check it out, Kelsey will be putting in the links to the WhatsApp group and also to the newsletter. And we take a look at that newsletter as being a mastermind. We go right across all different platforms, just making online sellers better online sellers. So that's that for that. Okay, so I think we can get into this. Same as normal. if you have comments or questions, throw them in the comments section and we can sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee. I'm grabbing mine. Enjoy the show. Welcome, Mr. Heinz.
Hey, Norm. How you doing?
I'm doing. You're so calm. How's it going?
How's it going?
You're such a chill guy.
Yes, always.
Oh, so different than when I meet you at events.
Yes. The events are fun. Gosh, I don't
I'm
even
not?
know.
Jeez.
Oh
Thanks.
no, obviously you're fun as well. Yeah, I was trying to think back. Like, I think the first time we met was actually all the way back in Cancun in Manny's event. That was like the original like Illuminati one.
Yeah, where everybody was looking at us kind of cross-eyed because we had these Illuminati stickers.
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
that was the one where they did that whole like, if you're managing over 100,000, raise your hand, and like you were the last one standing, and everyone's like, "Who's that guy?"
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yep.
So I got to tell this story. And Kelsey, we might have to put this into our newsletter. I just remembered this. So this goes back to that Illuminati, and I'm not sure if it was this one or the next one, but I'm pretty sure it was this one. So the event's over, and Kevin and Guy and Manny are giving out these little gifts for everybody. So you got this cool little card, and then you got, you remember the metal card?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. And then you had this wooden case with something in it. So I didn't look, it's a tchotchke. So I just, tucked it away, and off I went to the airport. So I'm at the airport. I don't think I ever told you this. I'm at the airport. I think it was Detroit. And my bag goes through. And all of a sudden, all these friggin' cops and TSA or whoever they are, Border Patrol, are all around me.
Oh, wow.
What? Did you pack your bag? Yeah. And then they like it. This is over a period of time. So finally they open up this wooden box that I had, right? Do you remember what that was?
Didn't it have like a weird USB drive or something?
It was a
in
pipe
it?
bomb.
Yeah, it looked like a
It had
pipe
little
bomb.
wires. It was a pipe. So I'm sitting there, and they're screaming at me, now that they see this thing. And
Oh, that's funny.
yeah. And so I just wondered, like, I've never heard anybody from that event who went through customs and it was caught.
Nope.
So you would think that would be, it's like going through with a loaded weapon. And
Yeah, it was a weird USB stick thing, but it looked like a pipe bomb, and like the top came off. I had to really think back. I was like, what was in that box? It's been so long.
So just if you are holding an event and people are coming internationally, don't give out, pipe bomb USBs. It will not turn out good, very well for that traveler.
Yes.
So I just had to bring that up, but we're talking
that
about.
was good. I didn't know that happened.
Yeah. Oh man, I got in so much trouble. So
nice.
All right. So we're talking about something today that we ended up talking. We just bumped into each other at an event, and we started talking about this. And that's these new streaming TV ads and Prime Video. And I wanted to bring you on to explain about this. What is it and what's the difference?
Yep. So I put together a little deck, which I'll talk to because we're on a podcast, but maybe Kelsey can kind of bring up the screen. So a lot of people, there's so many like Amazon ad reps, like reaching out, like pushing this like streaming TV. And you can get access to streaming TV in sponsored brands. Like everybody's seen that, third panel for running streaming TV. So streaming TV is the internet's answer to, traditional TV ads. But these all run in other mobile apps. So like the Paramount app, Hallmark, Hulu. So the problem with it is there's really like there's no tracking, right? So you're running these, TV type commercial ads on all these different platforms. So the only thing you can really track is like month over month branded searches, detailed page views, total revenue. So it's like very, very upper funnel. It's great for brands that want to drive awareness, but I'm a direct response marketer. If I spend $1, I want $2 back. So like the whole streaming TV for me has always been kind of like yeah, that'd be fun. And, a little bit of budget, allocated towards it, is great. But most everybody got an email from Amazon first thing this month that they're going to start rolling out Prime Video ads. So you get to start paying $2 a month on your Prime membership, or you're going to start seeing ads. So these all launch January 29th. So, first couple days of February, you log into your Amazon Prime Video account and start watching a TV show. You're going to start getting hit with these little ads, and they're like pre-roll and during the actual TV shows. So what's interesting is Amazon's going to have 115 million monthly ad impressions, which is actually going to make them larger than Hulu, way larger than Peacock or Warner Brothers, just right out of the bat. There's like just an enormous amount of people that watch video, through Amazon Prime. So it's interesting because this is now an ad to an Amazon Prime member on an Amazon Prime platform. So Amazon Prime members spend, 22% more than non-Prime members. Tons of great stats. 25% are have an annual income of 150K plus. But what's really interesting is the CPM ranges. So Prime Video ads are expected to come out in the $30 to $40 CPM range, which puts them cheaper than almost any platform. Netflix runs around a $52 CPM. Disney Plus is like $47 CPM. Hulu is currently like the cheapest with an average of a $23 CPM. But you're going to be able to advertise to like your perfect customer that is a Prime member cheaper than most any other streaming platform.
That's crazy. Now, I wonder, you remember how they hooked us in with pay-per-click? It was pennies. It was nothing. And now take a look at it. So I'm sure this is going to be sort of an introductory offer. Do you think that's going to be the case?
So, talking with some of the Amazon ad reps, they only expect like a small portion of people to actually buy like the $2 a month, no ads, because their audience is so big. Like anything, the more competitive it gets, the CPMs will go up. But I mean, that's just an insane amount of monthly impressions they have to fill.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably over time it'll go up. But like if you get in kind of early on it, the CPMs are going to be really, I'm not going to say inexpensive because it's expensive, but less expensive than it will be in 3 years from now.
Okay.
One other thing I like to point out with these is when you're doing direct response, same with like, pay-per-click, your customer is going to buy within the first couple days, right? They're either buying like instantly or they're buying like the next day. With these kind of TV ads, someone will view a product and it can take up to 6 days for them to purchase. So if you do decide to test this out and you do want to run it, you need to give yourself a good, 30-day budget to give this thing a run.
But don't you think that what we're looking at now is the radio ad going to work and just hitting you every morning and coming back every night with these ads? And now you've got this touch point, and for me, I remember going into Toronto every day I had to work. It was 45-minute drive, and Saul Corman. So if I wanted to get a suit, Saul Corman is where I was going, because it was just driven into my head that Saul Corman on the Danforth. And I guess that's what you're doing here too, correct? You're just having multiple impressions that are going to be shown to that Prime member.
Well, and I think kind of like what you're saying, 2017, as an Amazon seller, you were running auto campaigns, and that was good enough. So this Amazon ad ecosystem just keeps evolving. And I think that we're at a point if not now, very soon, where as a brand, if you want to be successful on Amazon, you've got to be thinking top of funnel too. You've got to be running these, off Amazon traffic, these like video placements, because it really is about the multiple touch points.
Right.
You need to make people aware of your brand before they even go to Amazon.
Very good.
And then it's kind of interesting because, in pure Amazon fashion, like everything kind of comes together. Like this past year, every conference I went to, people were talking about AMC Cloud. And if you're not familiar with AMC Cloud, it's really just a fancy way of saying database. So you go to Amazon and you tell them you want to get an AMC Cloud instance, and they set it up and it starts collecting data. And the interface for it is really, it's an SQL query editor. Like you have to go in and write SQL code to pull data out of the database. So there's a lot of pretty good providers out there, like IntentWise, Sky's got some. Like you almost need a developer to pull the data out and put it into something useful, because AMC Cloud as its own is really just a big database. But what's interesting is one of the built-in audiences in DSP and AMC Cloud is you can retarget to people that have viewed Prime Video ads. And so they're already like gearing up for this. It's already like in the console. So the idea is you run a Prime Video ad or a streaming TV ad, and that's like your awareness campaign. And then you can run a retargeting ad when the customer's back on Amazon to show them your product. So it becomes more than just an awareness. There's also like a performance component to it. So, you're spending X amount on the awareness, and then you spend X amount on the performance. You can bring them in, but it's just really interesting because the audiences they're already trying to leverage with AMC Cloud are things like high value customers, added to cart but didn't purchase, search for keywords, but haven't purchased. But they rolled out the Prime Video ad pretty quickly because they definitely see that as like where it's going.
So how tough is it? So you're a single seller and you're trying to do this and you're getting, some pretty good sales.
Mm-hmm.
How tough is it for you to get this AMC Cloud going with, and then like possibly hiring a company like IntentWise? What does it take? What can you expect? Is this something that has to be jobbed out, or is it something a seller can do?
If you're working with a company like IntentWise,
Yep.
they can help you get set up on it. The only issue is like, what do you do with it? It's like, okay, cool. We have AMC Cloud. The reporting and everything isn't great yet, but it's getting there. A lot of the out of the box reports that you get from AMC Cloud are just things like path to purchase. It's like, well, yeah, that's great. I just want more sales. I don't really care how they come in. So it's still so early. Like there's actually only one guy at Amazon that deploys these AMC instances. And it's crazy because like, he's just, you would think there's like this huge team that's like behind it, but it's still so early on. There's like one guy that you reach out to get an instance. But yeah, some of the out of the box reports, they'll do like number of branded searches attributed to ads, time to conversion, identifying like high value customers. The whole thing is really, it's geared towards adding more value to DSP. Like I see that as where they're going next, right? Like everyone's on AMS and they're spending as much as they can. This is where Amazon's going to be expanding to. And like Prime Video ads are available through DSP. And then it's really interesting because they just released a new report. It's called the DSP Campaign Impact Analysis Report. And it specifically calls out reporting on streaming TV and Prime Video ads. So you'll be able to get a report on your performance before the campaign started and your performance after the campaign's launched. So it just shows you that Amazon's heavily investing in this like streaming TV, video advertising. the AMC cloud reporting that will, give you insights behind the scenes.
Now, my wife must have heard me coughing upstairs. She brought down the Buckleys. Oh,
Nice.
Oh my gosh. Tastes like horse urine.
So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on the streaming TV, Prime Video ads. I think over the next couple of years, it's going to be mainstream. You're going to run Prime Video ads the same way you run sponsored brands. You're running sponsored brand videos, you're going to start running Prime Video ads.
So you're putting your time and your effort into this right now?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a big thing this year.
All right.
And that's where, so these are my 3 predictions for Amazon in the next couple of years. 1, I think Amazon's ad revenue is going to keep growing.
Mm-hmm.
Surprise. Amazon actually grew so much, they started reporting their income as a separate line item in 2021. And I don't think that's going to slow down. And this is where they're going to expand. Cost per click will increase. If you kind of look at the average cost per click over the past, whatever period of time, it goes up every year.
Yeah. And
then I think this top of funnel will become mainstream. This is where people are going to start spending their ad dollars because CPCs just become too expensive. And if you can't compete on CPCs and turn a profit, you've got to find other avenues to advertise.
Yeah. And like they've always said, they're trying to create these big brand communities. Top of funnel is where you start.
Exactly. So any questions on any of that? Anything?
No, I right now, what you're talking about was pretty crystal clear. It's very informative. So I'm thinking that a lot of our listeners hadn't even heard of these 2 things we're talking about today. So I'm glad that we could bring it to their attention. But let's talk about size. Mm-hmm. What type of seller are you looking at to, first of all, get into this? And are there 2 different sellers? Let's try this again. Can a seller do both, or is there one you need higher sales than the other?
So I like to explain it like this. If you think of AMS, like your sponsored products, your sponsored brands, that all happens in real time. Someone's on Amazon doing a search and you're bidding on search terms.
Yep.
DSP is what happens after the fact. So DSP, you want to leverage Amazon's data to create audiences of people that viewed your product page but haven't purchased, done a search for Amazon knows what keywords convert for your product. So you can create an audience of people that have done a search related to your product in the last 14 days but haven't purchased. Amazon knows who your competitors are. So you can create an audience of people that visited your competitor's product page in the last 14 days but haven't purchased. But all that's to say, my general rule of thumb is you want to spend about 15% of your AMS budget on DSP, but only once you've hit a point where your AMS just isn't profitable anymore. Right? You scale up and there's a point where you're spending more on AMS and you're just not getting the return.
Yep.
And that's when it's time to kind of look at DSP. The other side of it too is do you have the right product for DSP? So consumable products do really well. So if you think about it, AMS happens in real time. And if you've got a product that's, what you call an impulse buy product,
right,
something that's under $20, there's no one left to go back and get, right? There's no one to create those audiences for because they're impulse buys. So if your product is one where people comparison shop, which is why consumables do good, supplements, pet products, because you'll usually, shop around before you make a decision. And those people that are shopping around to make a decision are the ones that you want to target with DSP.
Now, I wouldn't have asked this question 10 minutes ago, but with DSP, what you've just described, this impulse buy, So I always look at a certain dollar amount that you should be at before you get into DSP, or amount of units that are being sold. But the way that you described it, let's say somebody has a chocolate bar, okay, or a case of chocolate bars, and it's definitely an impulse buy. It looks great, the product is awesome, but you don't have the sales. You're fairly new and you don't have the data behind you yet, right? But can you use DSP to stimulate those sales on an impulse product like a chocolate bar, a case of chocolate bars?
Anytime I've seen a client come on board where that brand's not mature and that brand isn't, have a decent amount of AMS spend and traction, it fails. Like DSP is not where you go to launch a product or to revive your product. DSP is where you go once your brand is humming and you're ready to take it to the next level.
Right. And that was always my interpretation. I just, when you threw that bit of a curveball and said, oh, impulse, it was, oh, am I missing something here? Because I see this all the time where you've got a lower, a product that might have been launched, might be out there for 6 months, still isn't at its peak, needs that boost. I would have always said, as an account manager, don't do it yet. You're not there yet.
No, you're correct. You're correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah. Because if you think about it, like, you want to be spending enough on AMS, PPC, sponsored products, to generate enough product page views for DSP to create the audiences of people that you want to target.
Yeah.
So I always like to say, like, DSP is where you go to take your brand to the next level. But if it's not working on PPC, sponsored brands, it's not going to work on DSP.
Got it. Very good. Important. That's an important point. Okay. We're at the bottom of the hour. So that's quick. I can't believe we're already there. But at the bottom of the hour, if you're brand new to this, usually we don't do pre-records. Usually it's live, but we are on the Online Sellers Cruise right now, and we've got a pre-record with Jacob. So we have a giveaway at the top of the hour called Wheel of Kelsey. And this is where usually our guest gives away a prize. So today, if you're interested in that, it's hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, or tag 2 people and you'll get a second entry. And today's prize, Mr. Heinz, what is it?
I'm happy to sit down with any brand and kind of evaluate if they're ready for DSP. And we can actually really go through how you can run DSP as a revenue generator rather than just a top of funnel brand awareness play. And that's what we do with Remarketer. We built a piece of software that sits on top of DSP to optimize towards performance goals rather than just awareness. Like I said, I'm a direct response marketer. If I put $1 in, I want $2 back.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I want more than that, please. Okay. So hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag 2 people, and you can enter into the Wheel of Kelsey giveaway at the top of the hour. Now I'm going to read a live. I hope I do this. Okay. I'm going to do a live read, and this is for Seller Basics. Hey, Amazon sellers, ever faced with account suspensions, ASIN hiccups, or IP headaches? Introducing Seller Basics, your Amazon account's guardian. For just $99 a month, or if you use code NORM, that will be $10 off, $89 a month. Seller Basics offers a dedicated team to shield your business from these challenges. Plus, this membership offers free legal consultations from seasoned e-commerce attorneys, no long-term contracts, cancel at just a month's notice, and you can always view Seller Basics as your Amazon account health plan. So check them out at sellerbasics.com. And now for the disclaimer. Seller Basics is not an insurer or law firm. Consultations can vary, or consultations come from independent firms. Results may vary. Membership needed before events leading to claims, and terms apply. So check out Seller Basics at sellerbasics.com. All right, now we're back. All right, Mr. Heinz. Let's see, where else should we go on this? What do you think would be important information? What are some mistakes that sellers could make going into this?
So, yeah, I mean, that's a good question. Like, do you want to talk about streaming TV or DSP?
We could do it both.
Okay. Well, when it comes to streaming TV, really it's important to measure, like if you're going to try this, if you want to run just a streaming TV that you can run through like sponsored brands, it's important to make sure you're measuring the right KPIs. So you want to start at like the beginning of the month, note down what your normal monthly revenue is, and see if you are actually seeing a revenue lift. Because it's really hard to tell like if it works. Think about it like running a TV commercial. There's no tracking outside of seeing how many sales, month over month are increasing. I do like that in sponsored brands, they have it built right in where you can see your month over month branded searches, which is important. So if you're going to run streaming TV, make sure people are aware of what brand it is. Make sure that video ad is very product specific, brand specific, because you want them to go to Amazon and type your brand name and your product, because that's really how you're going to track, the month over month sales, if it's having an incremental lift in revenue.
All right. Now for the other.
Yeah. For the DSP, it's don't run with agencies that aren't revenue focused. Which I think that is really shifted, right? Like originally DSP was all about upper funnel and branding. And I'm seeing it more and more, as we do like, DSP audits and stuff like that. Like there is a bigger focus on driving revenue. So for example, when you sign up with DSP, you get access to run ads on close to like 8,000 websites. But, because you have access to like Google Ad Exchange, Pubmatic, all these different, ad exchanges. But in reality, it's Amazon.com and Amazon Mobile where you're going to drive all the revenue. Your return on ad spend is almost 5x when you run on Amazon versus all these third-party websites. Because if you think about it, like I'm not in shopping mode when I'm checking Yahoo News or I'm on some, sports news websites trying to get updates. So if you're going to run DSP, focus on Amazon and just make sure that you have the right product fit for DSP.
What are some of the questions that sellers should be asking to make sure that they get the right agency?
Mm-hmm. It's actually a really good question. I'm trying to think, okay. PPC works on a CPC bid, right? So, like to be profitable, I need to hit a 30% ACoS. So I'm going to use software or I'm going to manually adjust those CPC bids until I get to my 30% ACoS. DSP works very similar. It's just on a CPM basis. So in DSP, you bid on CPMs. So you can adjust that CPM until you hit your ROAS target. So a great question to ask any agency is, what systems do you have in place for adjusting that CPM bid to hit my performance targets?
Very good.
The other one would really just be around, performance strategies. What strategies are you running? Almost everyone runs remarketing, retargeting, but there's a lot of layers that you can add in there. Are you excluding, existing subscribe and savers? Are you excluding purchasers in the last 30 to 60 days? Like there's a lot of ways to spend money on DSP. So you have to be really smart about narrowing things down. It can work great if you're really good at excluding all the stuff that doesn't work.
And I want to talk a little bit about managing expectations. So, you hear all sorts of things and there's a lot of smoke around it. So I want to get rid of that smoke. And what are the expectations? Are you going to be profitable day one? If not, how long is it going to take?
So I've noticed with DSP, if you have the right product, in the first week, because you'll be over your goal or close to your goal. If it's not right for DSP, pretty pretty quickly because you're just not getting the performance. And at that point, it's just not the brand is not ready or the product is not ready for it.
Yeah, that's funny because we've noticed that as well. If it hits, it hits. And if
Yeah.
it doesn't, you could try to adjust, but a lot of the times we used to go in there with a 3-month spread, let us play around with it, and then 3 months. And then if it didn't work, it didn't work. But for the most part, we let people know that, look, we're playing around. Just give us a bit of time. But right off the bat, that first week, a lot of the brands that are good will start being profitable.
Yep. I've seen the same thing. And you can try as hard as you can to make it work, and it usually doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah. And if it doesn't, what should you look at? Go back, optimize your listing, see if your brand or your category, is something that is worth being on DSP. Because like you said earlier, some brands or some product categories just shouldn't be on DSP, like plastic shoe stretchers. I don't think plastic shoe stretchers will do very well.
Exactly. Yep. No, and you're right. If you do feel like your brand is ready for DSP and it didn't work, go back and optimize your AMS. Use that budget that you were earmarking for DSP, put it back into AMS.
All right.
Or try streaming TV and Prime Video ads.
Yeah, there we go. Exactly what we're talking about today.
Yep.
All right. And let's see. I think the final question is just getting prepared. Well, actually, it's 2 questions. There's a huge variation in costs when you're looking for an agency. Now, does a higher price agency mean that they're going to get better results? Or is it like, and I've seen it range from under $1,000 up to $5,000+ a month. Some of them are charging percentage of fees on top of it. What can people expect?
It is pretty standard to charge a 10% of ad spend as a management fee. I have seen higher. I think Perpetua is like 17% now. So there's a wide variety. We actually have just a flat rate, and that just depends on the strategies that you want to run because our software does like the day-to-day optimization. So it's really not fair to charge you a percentage because we're not working any harder to spend more. But if you go direct to Amazon, they have like a $35K a month minimum and a percentage of ad spend. And you don't even get to see anything. It's managed for you by an Amazon rep. So you're best to kind of like go to an agency, and some do a flat rate. Most do the percentage of spend.
Okay. And when you're not going directly to Amazon, it's called fractional DSP. So they'll give you a slice of that. You don't have to worry about that. Excuse me, that 35,000 a K a month. Now I said a month. It's not a year; it's a month. So just keep that in mind. And fractional, there's so many really good agencies out there. And like, I want to talk about your agency for a second too. End of the podcast, we had a chance to talk. I had a chance to talk to you at an event, and I know we've been trying to touch base for a little while, but you had something very unique, and I just want to make sure that people know about what you have.
So I've been managing DSP for large brands for a couple years now. And then about a year into it, I realized there's just certain strategies that always work. Contextual targeting, when you're doing like upper funnel. So like contextual targeting, search prospecting, competitor product, views. And I realized for 90% of DSP, this works every time. So I teamed up with my partner, Kevin. We created Remarketer. We're an Amazon DSP agency. We only manage Amazon DSP. It's like the one thing we do, and we focus on it. But what we did was we built a piece of software that executes on those things that work best. So we only run on Amazon.com. We have things in place where like we only bid in the top 50% of the page. So you make sure that your ad is being seen. Just a lot of best practices that make sure that it works. But we also, most agencies, when you sign up with them, they have no transparency. You get like a weekly PDF report delivered by email. So we actually built a reporting portal that sits on top of our DSP seat. So you can log in at any time and see how your performance, see your performance. Now, we do still send you the weekly PDF, so you don't have to log into the portal, but
Right.
we want to be as transparent as possible. And then we offer flat rate pricing because, we want to make sure that you're only paying for what you're using. So depending on the strategies that you want to run, that's what you get, charged for. But yeah, a lot of it's really just best practices. And if you just cut out all the waste, third-party placements, frequency capping, there's a lot of things you can do just to save and optimize performance. And then, talking about the whole optimizing CPM bids, it's crazy, but we're one of the only platforms out there that actually has an algorithm to optimize those CPM bids towards performance goals. So we're just really performance DSP driven.
All right. Very good. How can people get in touch with you or the company?
Yeah. Remarketer.com, REMKTR.com.
Fantastic. All right. So we got a sponsor and then we'll go over to the Wheel of Kelsey. And just a quick note, if you like to enter the Wheel of Kelsey this week or this today, hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag 2 people, you'll get your chance. You got to do that within about 30 seconds. This episode of Lunch with Norm is sponsored by VAA Philippines. Looking for a high-quality virtual assistant for your business? With the rigorous screening, intensive Amazon and Walmart training, and ongoing professional development, get the peace of mind with skilled and motivated virtual assistants for a long-term working relationship. Hire through VAA today, and now let's get back to the show. All right. So, Kels, let's get into the wheel.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
All right. At this point, we have a winner. We don't know who it is, but congratulations. I should mention that when we're on the cruise, we don't know if we're going to have great Wi-Fi. We like to go on live if we can, so we can enter people. But we're going to take everybody here that entered today if we can't do it live. And when we get back, we'll have just an ongoing like 3 or 4 different Wheel of Kelseys for the day for the people that entered, and you'll get the prize and we'll let you know how to get a hold of it. But hopefully this is live. You've got the prize winner today. So I'm going to say congratulations. Who knows? Fingers crossed. Jacob, thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Appreciate you having me on.
Well, we're going to have to get you on again.
Absolutely.
It won't take you, 3 or 4 years this time, right?
No.
All right. Okay, everybody. So thank you so much for watching. And again, this is a pre-record. We've got a great series of pre-records. So we've got Max Sinclair. Kevin King's going to be on. I'm forgetting somebody. Kelsey might be able to help me out.
Well, they've already seen those episodes because we're in the feature. So
all right. Okay. Oh, very good. I tried.
Yeah, you did your best.
So that's it for today's show. I hope you liked it. I hope these pre-records help keep us up to date with you while we're away. And if you want to become part of our community, remember, you can watch the podcast. You can subscribe to the podcast. Go to our Facebook group. But what's really buzzing right now is our WhatsApp group and also our newsletter. Love to hear what you have to say about them. And if you have any suggestions how to improve it or any content that you'd like to provide. Okay, guys, we'll see you later.
Lunch with the